All right, let's talk about two little words that are secretly at the heart of why so many software projects just completely fall apart: domain and system. Getting this distinction right, it isn't just some nerdy technical detail, it is the absolute foundation for building software that actually solves the right problems.
But before we even get into the software side of things, we've got to talk about just how high the stakes can get when we misunderstand each other. I'm talking life or death high.
So check out this quote. This is from the official analysis of the Tenerife air disaster. It's the deadliest crash in the history of aviation. We're talking over 500 people lost. And the craziest part? It wasn't a busted engine or some crazy storm. It was all about the language. A pilot heard the word "okay" from the control tower and took it to mean he was cleared for takeoff. He wasn't. That one simple, ambiguous word led to an absolute catastrophe.
And that right there, that's the killer. Ambiguity. In high-stakes worlds like aviation, not having a shared, precise language is a recipe for disaster. Now look, building software might not feel like landing a 747, but when a misunderstanding costs a company millions of dollars and derails a project for months, well, that's its own kind of disaster, right?
Okay, so the good news is there's actually a framework for this, a way to think that just forces everyone to be clear and helps us sidestep those project-killing landmines. And it all boils down to one really fundamental distinction.
So let's really break this down. On one side, you've got the domain. Think of this as the business world, right? It's the whole sphere of knowledge, all the weird rules and jargon that only they understand. This is the why we're even building anything. And then on the other side, you've got the system. That's our world. That's the technology, the software, the actual app. It's the collection of parts that we build to serve that domain. It's the how.
So a domain, it's like a walled garden of knowledge. It's a very specific, bounded context. Think about a big company. You've got your accounts department. You've got HR. You've got shipping. Each one of those, that's a domain. They're their own little world with their own experts, their own data, and for sure, their own unique language. An accountant and a logistics manager might work at the same company, but they live in totally different domains.
Now, a system, that's the whole thing that's built from all these different parts. The bicycle analogy is honestly perfect here. The whole bike, that's a system, but it's made up of all these distinct parts, right? The frame, the wheels, the brakes. Each part has a very specific job, and when they work together, you get a functioning bicycle. The software we're building is that system. And often, its components are designed to serve all those different business domains we just talked about.
All right, enough with the theory. Theory is great, but let's make this real. We're going to map out a drone delivery business to see exactly how this stuff plays out in the wild.
So let's imagine this company. We'll call them Fabricom. They're building a brand new drone delivery service. The entire application they're building, the website you order from, the app on your phone that tracks the package, all the back-end stuff that manages the drones, all of that together, that is the system.
Okay, but look inside that one system. What do we see? We can immediately start picking out all these different, distinct business domains. Of course, shipping is the big one. It's the core of the business. But you also have drone management, which is a whole separate thing, right? That's about the fleet itself. Then you've got accounts and invoicing for the money, ETA analysis for figuring out delivery times, even user accounts. Each of these is its own little sphere of knowledge.
And this right here, this is where it gets really interesting and really important. See, the word drone means something totally different depending on which domain you're in. For the maintenance folks in the drone management domain, a drone is all about its service history, its model number, how many hours it's been in the air. But for the shipping domain, do they care about any of that? Nope. They need to know one thing and one thing only. Is a drone available right now to go pick up this package? Same object, two completely different contexts, two different models of what matters.
So you see the problem, right? We've got all these different domains, each with its own way of looking at the world, all crammed together inside one system. This is where things get dangerous. This is where you can have your own Tenerife-level misunderstanding. So, how on earth do we stop that from happening?
Well, the answer is this powerful concept called the ubiquitous language. Seriously, this is the master key to unlocking it all. It's a common, really precise vocabulary that is hammered out and shared by everyone working in a specific domain. I'm talking the business experts and the software developers together. And this isn't just about meetings and documents. This language literally gets written into the software code itself.
So much of the fighting and frustration on projects, it comes down to something this simple. The accounting expert calls it a chart of account, But the developer, trying to be helpful, codes it as a ledger. The warehouse manager talks about an item, but the marketing team's presentation calls it a product. These seem like tiny little differences, but they create these cracks in understanding that just get wider and wider until they become massive problems.
So how do we actually create this shared language? Well, it all kicks off with a conversation. And it's guided by 3 really essential questions you have to ask for every single domain. First, who owns this data? Like, who is the final authority? Second, who gets to change the rules? Who defines the business logic? And third, and this is the big one, what do we actually call things? Let's agree, right now, on the exact words we're all going to use. Just answering these 3 questions forces everybody to get clear, and it just stamps out that ambiguity.
Okay, so the big question, why does all this matter? What's the real payoff for going through all of this trouble? Separating domains, defining these boundaries, obsessing over every single word.
Oh, the payoff is huge, absolutely massive. When you do this, you get software that is highly cohesive, meaning every part has one single, super well-defined job. It means your services are loosely coupled, which is a fancy way of saying you can change one part of the system without breaking 10 other things. You avoid all those nasty hidden dependencies. And, probably the most important thing, you are aligning the technology you're building directly with what the business actually needs, preventing all those expensive, painful misunderstandings.
And this is how we bring it all back home, by being totally obsessive about clear boundaries and a shared, precise language. Exactly what the aviation industry had to do after that disaster. We prevent the communication breakdowns that kill our own digital projects. We end up building better, stronger, more resilient systems, all because we started by simply agreeing on what the words mean. So I want to leave you with a final thought to take back with you. What is the most ambiguous, the most misunderstood word in your business? Seriously, think about it. Because finding that word, that might just be the first step to building something truly amazing. Thanks for listening.